Yeah. So this really is a big piece of history, isn't it?
On a late summer day in Petersburg,
I never knew some of that stuff, and I've been here 25 years.
in front of the courthouse restoration,
Just unbelievable.
there's about to be an emotional reunion, a quarter century in the making.
It was terrible.
It was a tornado.
On August 6, 1993, one of the most destructive tornadoes in state history touched down in the Tri-Cities. The massive F4 twister hit Old Town without warning, doing incredible damage to dozens of historic businesses. Among them, the French Betsy restaurant. The tornado caused part of the roof to collapse, burying waitress Frances Jimenez and waiter Lorenzo Briggs alive. But in the wake of the devastation came amazing acts of courage and heroism. Ordinary citizens joined first responders in digging through the wreckage. Within minutes, they found Frances, her body partially shielded by Lorenzo. My camera was rolling when they brought Frances out on a stretcher and rushed her to an ambulance.
Watch the wires coming up. Wires.
At first, I was afraid the young woman was dead because her body looked completely ashen, but I soon realized that was because she was covered in dust.
Where you want to go?
Frances survived, as did Lorenzo. The next week, I interviewed both of them in their hospital rooms, but a quarter century would pass before we'd reconnect.
You brought back some memories that I hadn't really thought about.
Earlier this month, we tracked down Frances and interviewed her for CBS 6 coverage of the 25th anniversary of the Tri-Cities tornado.
I'm just grateful to be breathing, to be walking.
I learned that Frances works at Petersburg Circuit Court and that we've probably seen each other dozens of times over the years, but I had no idea she was the young woman from the French Betsy, and she has no recollection of talking to me at the hospital. In fact, she had never seen the video I shot of her on the stretcher. But Frances told me there is one thing she'll never forget about that day.
They gave me peace because they were talking me through what was happening.
She remembered a voice that kept speaking to her, keeping her awake and keeping her calm, telling her that everything was going to be all right. The voice of someone Frances never got a chance to see.
Because my eyes were never open because I was covered. And I couldn't open my eyes, but whoever was in the ambulance talked me through. And to keep me remain calm. But it was a blessing. That's all I can say.
Now, 25 years later, there's finally a face to go with that voice. In my original video, you can see a woman in a white shirt and green shorts.
Keep her alert. Keep talking to her. Keep talking to her. Keep her alert.
She talks to Frances while she's on the stretcher, telling her that she'll be fine. As she later kneels beside the young waitress as the paramedics prepare to put her in the back of the ambulance, we weren't sure, but we believe the woman's name was Millie Albright. After our anniversary story aired, I received a message from Albright's daughter, confirming that was her mother. And she told us she could also see her father in our old video. Ed Albright is in the glasses and the blue striped shirt. He helped to dig Frances out of the debris and carried the back part of her stretcher. The Albrights live in the West End but went to Petersburg that day to get some lunch and do a little shopping. We decided they needed to pay the city another visit. Yesterday, we arranged for Millie, Ed, and their daughter Ellen to meet me outside the Circuit Court building. We pretended like I was interviewing them about the old courthouse renovation project. That's when I had the clerk of courts bring Frances outside. I acted surprised, said hello, and told her I was glad to see her because I had some pictures she needed to see.
So this is the woman that talked to you, that you were talking about how she kept you calm, but your eyes are closed. That's her. We think her name is Millie Albright.
Okay.
Guess what? That's Millie Albright.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's so funny because in the interview, it was like, I was like, whoever it was, and in the footage, it was you.
The next 20 minutes were full of tears.
I'm glad you made it, Dawn.
Thank you.
More hugs and stories about that fateful day.
So they had eaten in the French Betsy.
Really? I probably was with your waitress.
Probably was.
And there would be one more surprise.
Stand by 1 second. So Frances?
Is that Lorenzo?
This is Lorenzo.
Hey, thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
A joyful phone conversation between two friends who hadn't spoken in years, forever bonded by a near-death experience.
We were there together and you helped me. You covered me so I could be less injured.
I covered you and God covered us.
Yes, yes.
The Albrights presented Frances with a dozen roses. They picked yellow because it's the color of friendship.
Oh, I need to be giving them to you.
A friendship long overdue that they all hope will blossom for years to come.
I'm glad to have met you both after all these years. Like I said, all of us are here 25 years later. Yep. Thank you. I just can't stop hugging you. You just don't know the power of a voice when you don't know what's going on.
The Albrights and Frances say they plan to keep in touch. Frances says she plans to treat them to lunch soon. And Lorenzo says he's going to schedule a trip to Petersburg as soon as he can so he and Frances can reconnect in person. Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.